Good evening, esteemed participants, and welcome to the second training session for the fourth virtual International Mediation Competition 2024, proudly presented by Mediate Guru. I am Isha Shroff, your moderator for today's enlightening session. Today, we have the distinct honor of being guided by an expert trainer who embodies excellence in the field of mediation. With her wealth of experience and profound insights, Ms. Sasha Matar is here to lead us through a transformative journey into the art of mediation. Ms. Sasha is a seasoned professional with a diverse background in law, coaching, and political science. She is passionate about helping individuals develop strong interpersonal skills. She holds certificates such as the Senior Certificate Professional Coach and has extensive experience guiding clients to unlock their potential and achieve personal and professional success. With a master's in international organization and a bachelor's in law, Ms. Sasha possesses a strong academic foundation complemented by extensive practical experience. As a former legal professional, Ms. Sasha also contributed to the field of ADR, helped establish the Mediate Guru chapter in her region, and connect with esteemed field experts. She has participated in multiple international competitions since she was a law student and understands the importance of effective communication in diverse contexts. This experience has equipped her with the skills to navigate complex interpersonal dynamics and facilitate constructive dialogue. By leveraging her expertise and experience, Ms. Sasha empowers clients to overcome challenges, achieve their goals, and thrive personally and professionally. Ms. Moto, it's truly a pleasure to have you with us today. Your dedication to the advancement of mediation is truly commendable, and we are privileged to learn from your expertise. So, without further ado, let's begin today's session with Ms. Matar as our guide. Ms. Sasha Matar, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Isha, for this introduction. And thank you, everyone, for attending this session today. Just some heads up, there might be some background noise because my neighbors are making some work. So if it ever becomes a lot so bad, let me know so I can plug in my earpiece. Anyway, so welcome, everyone, and I hope you're enjoying this competition. And I hope you will also enjoy this session today. It will basically be full of practical information that you will use on a day-to-day basis in every situation. I know you hear a lot of you have to be empathetic, you have to be a good mediator, you have to be a good communicator to be a good mediator, and so on. And today we will explain and we will go through the details of what does it mean actually to be a good mediator and a good communicator and a good listener and a good and how to be empathetic and so on. So some of you might be familiar with some of the content that you will see, but be sure that within the current setup, this content is tailored to the legal professionals, and it is, of course, the guidance that you will receive today. You will be able to use it anywhere you'd like, or in any situation that you might require you to be a skilled and persuasive communicator. Okay, and it's also because every legal professional, an ADR enthusiast, and an aspiring mediator should recognize that communication is at the core of their career. So if you're any of that, you definitely need to become a good communicator. Communication, basically, this is just a quick outline of what we will talk about in this introduction, and I will immediately go here to tell you and to talk to you about how communication lies at the heart of the legal profession. It serves as the cornerstone of every successful interaction and negotiation and resolution, any kind of conflict resolution that you might be you might be wanting to resolve. So whether you're advocating for a client at court, or you're drafting a legal document, or you're mediating a dispute, your ability to communicate effectively is essential. In mediation and negotiation in particular, the art of communication takes center stage because it directly influences the outcome of any discussion and the attainment of a mutually beneficial agreement to both parties. So throughout this workshop, we'll explore the complexities of both verbal and nonverbal communication. And I will provide you also with some tools and techniques necessary to navigate mediation and negotiation scenarios, where you will be able to feel very confident and know that what you are trying to deliver is something that people are listening to, and your communication is effective. And we will talk about what is effective communication as well. So understanding, first of all, verbal and nonverbal communication requires us to define verbal communication and how, the role it plays in conveying information. And also, we will talk about various forms of nonverbal communication and how they impact each and everyone's perception and interpretation of the reality. So research suggests and confirm that 80 to 90% of our communication is nonverbal, which is why we focus a lot on the nonverbal. So we will explore the multifaceted nature of communication, because it is comprised of a verbal element and the nonverbal element. And we will try to focus on not only what is said, what do you say, but also how it is conveyed. While verbal communication actually provides the substance of our messages, non-verbal cues such as body language, facial expression, and tone of voice. Sorry about the active listening part. I should have deleted that, but I forgot, but don't worry about it. So body language, facial expression, and tone of voice are exactly what non-verbal communication is all about. And they often convey the deeper meaning and the emotion of what is happening. So this means that it's very critical to understand these cues and the role that they play in our day-to-day communication. Let's start with verbal communication. In the legal profession, every word and gesture carries weight. So it's important to understand the nuances of both forms of communication. When it comes to verbal communication, verbal communication encompasses the spoken and the written words. So it's everything we use verbally or in a written aspect to convey every information or express any idea and negotiate any agreement that we do. And it also includes, like, how do I know that I'm a good speaker or a good orator, more precisely? It involves clarity of language, when my language is clear, when the structure of my arguments is well organized, and the tone of our voice is adequate to what I'm trying to say. And for when it comes to tone of voice sometimes is included under verbal communications, the verbal element, and other times it's involved in the nonverbal element. And this just depends on the definition that you try to give it. But for the sake of this presentation here, we can include it under the verbal element. But if we want to dive deeper in the definition of the elements, we would definitely move it under nonverbal. So the nonverbal element that we're talking about here is includes like very, very huge number of cues that we transmit through our body language, our facial expressions, and our gestures as well. And these nonverbal cues often reveal the true thoughts and feelings and our intentions, even when our words may suggest the opposite. So if I'm trying to tell someone, for example, that I like their shoes, if I say it in this way, like, I like your shoes, would they believe that I like their shoes? Because my facial expression, my gesture, and my body language suggests the opposite, suggests that they don't like their shoes. I'm just saying that to score points, maybe. And God knows if I scored that point or not. So in mediation and negotiation, we need to pay attention to nonverbal signals, such as nodding, such as eye contact, such as fidgeting, is if I'm playing all the time with my pen, or I'm tapping on the floor with my foot all the time, because these can be valuable insights into the opponent's emotional state and their level of engagement, and absolutely their willingness to cooperate. So the way we speak, the way we listen, and the way we respond verbally to anything is complemented, if not reinforced, by our nonverbal cues. And it's also the opposite way around. So it's vice versa. And you might say, for example, a firm handshake. What does a firm handshake demonstrate? It demonstrates confidence. And what does a hesitant tone showcases? It undermines my credibility. So if I have an hesitant tone while delivering this presentation here, you would not believe a word I say. All right. So this is just to give you an idea of how both elements of communication complement one another and also reinforce one another, and how we tend sometimes to forget that we need to be that we need to have a very nice balance of the two when we are doing any when we are in a very important setup that we need to be good speakers. And I took a screenshot here, if you want to take a screenshot of the slide that you're seeing right in front of you. It's from a book that's called What Everybody Is Saying by Joe Navarro, who's a previous FBI officer. He's right now a body language expert, and he has numerous books on body language. So I just wanted to show you this so you can leave it with you and take it home with you, just to have an idea about what different facial expressions may signal. So if my lips are tense, this would mean that I'm showing concern or nervousness, and so on. We're not gonna stay a lot on this slide, but you can take a screenshot of it. The second part of this presentation is we will talk about effective communication. So communication, we discussed a little bit what is communication and what does it entail, and what is effective communication. We always say you need to be an effective communicator. What is effective communication? So it requires, first of all, effective communication requires the combination of multiple skills and qualities that go beyond the mere articulation of our thoughts and ideas. So sometimes we might be very good. We might have a very good grammar, very good vocabulary. We know a lot of words, but if we don't, but this does not mean that it's enough for us to be good communicators. Okay. Because it involves, to be a good communicator, we need to be active listeners. We need to be empathetic, and we need to be strategic. We need to be very strategic in how we assert and how we demonstrate our assertiveness. And this would showcase eventually our confidence. So all of these would help us navigate conflict resolution and be better in solving any conflict. We will begin by defining what is active listening, the first element of effective communication. And there's a lot of definitions to active listening, but simply put, it's the difference between listening and really listening. And what is really listening? How do I become a good active listener? When I recognize negative thought patterns. And what does that mean? What does it mean to be able to recognize and set aside any negative thought pattern? It means that I want to let go of any bias that I have that may interfere with my ability to fully engage and understand what the speaker is saying. When I'm an active listener, I create an environment where the person right in front of me, who may demonstrate stubbornness, feels, I want to make him feel heard and acknowledged. And this would absolutely create an environment for that person where he would be more receptive to what I'm trying to say. And when I do this, I can effectively communicate to the listener, my concerns. I can effectively communicate my concerns, my needs, what I'm trying to say, as well as my criticism or any feedback that I'm trying to say, and make that person understand that all of what I'm trying to say is well-intentioned, and they come from a place of care, not from a place of simple criticism because I like to give critics, or I like to give negative feedback. And I'd like us, why did I put feedback between brackets? Because a lot of time we tend to use a negative word to describe something that is positive. So I put feedback in between brackets just to tell you that instead of using the word constructive criticism, you may be able to use feedback instead of constructive criticism, but know deep down in your head that anytime you want to give a constructive criticism or a feedback, you are trying to say something, turn something negative into a positive. So for example, if I want to tell my colleague that their presentation sucks and is not good, I do not go and just tell them that your presentation sucks. I try to understand first what did not go well. Did I not like the graphics? Did I not like the word, how they were positioned? I do not go and say exactly, I do not like the way you put the words. I may be able to tell them instead, the way you put the word, the way you placed the sentences could have been better for the viewers, and we could have retained the engagement in a better way if the visuals were better or were more engaging. I need to have scientific feedback. All right, let's move on to the next one. Active listening allows also people to feel heard and understood, and this would also mean, I'm talking about the one that says engage in emotionally charged conversations without yelling. So when I am actively listening, I am allowing other people to express themselves, and I am helping them become less angry and less susceptible to resort to yelling to convey their message. And when I'm focused on the other person, I'm more capable of viewing a disagreement as a whole rather than a part of a thing. And also, I would be able to let go of focusing solely on my emotions and needs. And when I demonstrate empathy and genuine listening to the other's perspective, I can address their needs, and I can help them feel calmer and more receptive to considering my point of view. Now, with all of that said, I need you to understand that when I'm actively listening to try to convey my opinion, this does not mean that I am trying to manipulate the situation. There's a very thin line between manipulating and demonstrating active listening skills. So keep in mind that manipulation involves tactics that I use to influence someone else's thoughts and their feelings for personal gains. This involves coercion and fraud and lying and guilt tripping and gaslighting and any other form of psychological manipulation. And this is considered as a criminal offense. So I need to be very aware of where I am demonstrating active listening skills for the better, for the greater good, or for my personal gains. And when you make all that effort to be a better listener, you'll be able to listen to the needs of people, to the needs of your audience, and eventually you would become a better leader. You would be able to have your message, you will be able to get your message across more effectively. And this is shown in, like, if you look at the leader in your region, or the politicians, and all of these people in power. The main thing that they offer is, we are here for the people. So I hear what the people are saying, and I try to do what these people are asking for, So next time they would vote for me again. What are some active listening techniques that are very useful and that you can practice using? Paraphrasing, which is restating the speaker's message in their own, in your own words, sorry. So you give them a chance to correct you if you need. When you use nonverbal language, of course, it's when you communicate through your gestures, your facial expressions, and your body posture and the eye contact that you use. Emotional labeling is super important sometimes. It's when you acknowledge a person's emotion and try to give it a name. So this way you're demonstrating to that person that you're understanding that you're understanding the emotional content of what you're trying to say. And then you have using silence. Using a moment of silence is honestly my personal favorite. It's when you like allow the other speaker to express themselves fully and you give them the space to collect their thoughts, not immediately interrupt whenever you see like 2 or 3 seconds of silence. No, this does not mean that the person has given you the permission to interrupt and jump in and give your opinion, not at all. But this could potentially mean that they're taking a moment to collect their thoughts to be able to continue what they're trying to say. Then you have redirecting. So sometimes the conversation may shift, and it's your responsibility most of the time to help the conversation, take the conversation back on track whenever it goes off topic. Mirroring, you may be familiar with it because everyone speaks about mirroring. It's when you physically and behaviorally align with the speaker. So you maintain eye contact, you try to mirror how they move. If they scratch their head, you also scratch your head. But this has to be, you have to be very careful when you do this. You have to be very careful not showing the other person that you're trying just to imitate them, but you have to be doing that unconsciously in a way that you're engaging with the other person. I told you that we cannot delve in each and every detail. This is just some high level information for you. And if you're interested in knowing more about any particular element of these, you may research that or you may get in contact with me later. So finally, you're validating. You are an active listener when you validate, and this means that you acknowledge and accept the speaker's emotion and opinion. This is regarding of your personal agreement with that person. Your personal not only your personal agreement, but also your personal biases. Disregarding of your personal biases, you're validating what this person is saying, and this way you're showing them that you are understanding them and you support what they're saying. I'd like you to take a screenshot of these questions. This is a reflection exercise that you can take home with you anytime that you want to reflect on how am I being a good listener, how can I become a better listener, and so on. Think of these questions. Oh my god, I don't know what just happened, but like anyway, think of these questions whenever you want to try to become a better speaker. I mentioned to you in the beginning that active listening also comes with assertiveness. What is assertiveness? And this part here is honestly my personal favorite because assertiveness plays such an important role in communication and in anything you do in life. When you are assertive, when you are confident, when you display confidence, you are taken absolutely more seriously. And assertiveness itself, the skill of assertiveness, plays a very important role in conflict resolution because it helps you when you're being more assertive, you're promoting effective communication and demonstrating problem-solving skills. So how does it help you? It helps you when you're an assertive speaker, you express your needs, or you allow the other person to express their needs, their emotions, their concerns very clearly and directly, which would help you avoid any misunderstanding. And when you're actively listening, also you're demonstrating assertiveness because you're promoting empathy and you're promoting understanding and you're helping facilitating the resolution of the conflict. when you're demonstrating respectful engagement, and that means when you're engaged in a conflict resolution, in the resolution of a conflict with respect for yourself and for others. So you are asserting the needs of the parties, and you are also putting limits and boundaries without resorting to aggression or demonstrating any passive behavior. So this way, you're fostering a positive environment for conflict resolution. When you're focusing on solution, so when an assertive communicator focuses on problem solving and focuses on finding a mutually beneficial agreement or solution rather than focusing on blame or winning an agreement. And emotional regulation. So assertiveness involves managing my own emotions during a conflict. So when I stay calm, when I stay composed, I am preventing the conflict from escalating, and I'm maintaining a constructive dialogue towards the resolution of the conflict. And then we have conflict prevention. So when I am addressing a conflict proactively and with assertiveness, I am helping or avoiding the conflict escalate into a larger issue. And then when I do all of that, I am helping building an environment of trust and respect among people involved. Whenever I demonstrate honesty and integrity, and I demonstrate the openness in communication that I have, it absolutely forms a foundation for me for future interaction, and builds and helps me build a better reputation in my expertise. And when I'm being assertive, I have to be careful that also in here, there is a fine line between assertiveness and aggression. So when I'm assertive, it does not mean that I am aggressive, because assertiveness, it's just simply confidently expressing my thoughts and my feelings and my needs, while I'm respecting and considering the rights, the feelings of others, and I'm not resorting to any aggression and manipulation. Meanwhile, aggression involves me asserting my needs in a forceful way or in a hostile manner. And also I'm disregarding when I'm being aggressive, I'm disregarding the rights and feelings of other people. And this also, unfortunately, is considered as a criminal offense. So this is what I'm mentioning this for you to always know, that you need to strike a balance between assertiveness and between not being mistaken as aggressive. So in mediation and negotiation, an assertive communicator must balance their assertiveness with diplomacy, with sensitivity, with being sensible to the other people's feelings and their rights, and consider their needs and emotions as well. And I do this by avoiding conflict, or by avoiding resorting to any forceful manner, and by adopting a collaborative mindset and getting rid of the I want to win mindset. No, I should always seek a win-win solution, and who knows, I might end up winning at the end. Now that we've talked about assertiveness, active listening, and all the elements that constitute communication, from verbal to nonverbal elements, it's time for us to discuss a cultural awareness, especially in mediation and international mediation. So being culturally aware and sensitive to other people's and the participants' opinions and background and so on is super important. And how and why has this become so important? Because as you can see, the world today has become so globalized that effective communication in mediation and negotiation setups require the mediator to be fully understanding and aware of cultural differences and sensitivities around the world. So cultural norms, values, and communication. This is communication styles. This is not communication STLES. I'm sorry for the typo. So communication styles and cultural norms and values, they vary across the world and across different regions and societies, and influencing how communicating varies wildly across these different regions. And this influence how people interpret the verbal and nonverbal cues that people demonstrate. So as a legal professional, when you participate in international mediation and international competitions, it's important for you to recognize and respect these cultural differences to be able eventually to promote inclusivity and understanding and cooperation. So what is the significance of cultural awareness and sensitivity? Or how can I become a better mediator or a legal professional who considers, who is culturally aware and sensitive? So I am culturally sensitive if I am aware of the differences of communication styles that may be considered appropriate in one culture, but perceived differently in another. So for example, if I want to greet someone in my country, it's very possible for me to approach that person and give them 3 kisses on their cheeks. In other cultures, it's 2 kisses. In other cultures, it's even not at all appropriate for you to approach someone and give them a kiss. And in different cultures, you just join your hands and you bow down to say hello and greet another person, and you do not approach them. Honestly, I'm very down for the last one because of germs, and after COVID, it has become better for us to to keep distance. Anyway, let's go back to the topic. I become a better mediator, considered as culturally aware when I respect the cultural norms, so and the cultural traditions of every party involved in the mediation process. I consider language considerations is when I know that language may be a barrier in understanding. So I have to be always aware that we need to provide interpretation services for anyone involved in mediation or any international setup that may require different languages, that may require people coming from different places with different languages. Nonverbal communication again and again, such as body language, facial expression, and eye contact. Those all vary in different from one region to another. So in some places, it is considered respectful to keep eye contact. In other places, it's not respectful to keep eye contact. It's considered as audacity, as a negative trait. When you are also aware of the decision-making processes in different culture, you're also becoming more culturally aware. And what do I mean by that? In some places, they value consensus building, and other they prioritize hierarchy, and they prioritize hierarchy, and they're more into authority. So I need to understand those differences to be able to navigate a better solution for the conflict. And when I avoid cultural stereotypes, it's when I avoid assumptions. So I want you to forget everything you've heard at home when you were young, from your parents, from your aunts, from your uncles, anyone that said that anything about a different religion, about a different sect, about anything that might have happened. This, you need to forget it. You need to forget everything you've learned and become very aware of what you don't know, what you need to know, what you need to become more familiar with to be able to become a better mediator. And of course, you have to keep learning about the difference of cultures, the different regions that you're not familiar with. And you do this probably by engaging in trainings, in the reading more about these different cultures, or maybe if you were in a different place, be with a local who might be able to guide you, and so on. And here's some tips to improve your cultural sensitivity as a mediator. So yes, you can build cross-cultural competence, and you promote inclusive communication by using their language. You encourage the diversity in perspective, and you do not resist any different opinion from yours. Now, I think this is the final part, how the application of all of these information in your legal practice. So, and how mastering effective communication can enhance your legal profession and legal career. So as I mentioned to you in the beginning, that communication lies at the center of, and every word we say as legal professional holds value and carries weight. And the way we say it also is very important. So this would help you eventually in better client representation, since you must be able to communicate complex legal concepts and procedures in a clear and accessible manner. You can become better at your negotiation skills can improve, and negotiation skills are essential for you as a legal professional. I'm sorry about the electricity. It will be fixed in a bit. Whenever you employ active listening skills, and whenever you when you showcase assertiveness and you improve your problem solving techniques, you're eventually facilitating a constructive dialogue, and you're helping in the achievement of a win-win solution. You can also being a better communicator also is better. It helps you become better in the courtroom, so you will be able to present your argument and your evidence and all of what is involved in a legal process in a better way, and helps you also respond better to the opposing agreement, the opposing counsel and the opposing agreements that you may be faced with. And of course, you should incorporate these principles of effective communication, not only in your legal practice, but also in every single communication that you have, in every setup with your family, with your colleagues, with your clients, with your I don't know, friends, anyone that you might have to communicate with, because these will eventually help you become not only better on a personal level, but also enhance your career as a legal practitioner, or as a legal or as a mediator or an ADR enthusiast for the future. So those were in general and on a very high level, the principles of effective communication. And I know there's a lot of things to say, but we do not have a lot of time. Let me know if you have any question. Let me know if there are any other things that you might think of that probably you think I did not talk about, or any question that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Matar, for an enlightening and inspiring session. Participants, we hope you found today's training valuable as you prepare for the 4th Virtual International Mediation Competition 2024. Wishing you all the very best in your endeavors, and we look forward to see you at the competition.
There's a question in the chat box that says, any advice for the negotiators? Sorry, this is a very general question, but I would say that everything that we discussed today can be applied for any setup in terms of communication, whether you're a negotiator, whether you're a mediator, whether you're a lawyer, a public notary, whether you're a judge, any field that you decide to go into, you can use these tips. For negotiation in specific, there's a lot of tactics and tools because negotiation requires a lot of persuasion and a lot of manipulation, let's say. I don't want to say manipulation, but in a bad way. I want to say manipulation in a constructive way, because negotiation requires a lot of me lowering my expectations and lowering my demands, and the other person as well lowering their demands as well, for us to meet in a place where that's beneficial for both of us. And if I know how to manipulate the situation better, I would be able to convince the other party that what I'm trying to offer is also beneficial for them. And this is what I mean by manipulation. How can the mediating pair negotiate to have the best interest for themselves? Yeah, this also falls under negotiation. And how can you better negotiate to have the best interest for themselves? I would say you should always consider the needs and what the other party is trying to convince you with. So if that other party is trying to tell you that I need A, B, and C, and you think that A, B, and C are not something that you're okay with, you might be able to go deeper in understanding why does this party wants A, B, and C. So if I ask you, for example, I want you to remove if in a mediating setup you are asking the other person, you are mediating because you're in a conflict about for example let me try to think of an example. I don't know, like, for example, you are trying to negotiate a better salary, or mediate a better salary, or mediate probably a better end of service compensation. Okay, you are asking your employer to give you 100K, and your employer is telling you, I can only give you 70K, even though 100K is what you deserve, but 70K is what that employer is right now capable of offering. So you try to understand, why is the 70K offered, and try to convince that person that I deserve the 100K. But if that person comes to you and tells you, look, my company is going through a very hard financial time, and I don't have enough money, and if I give you 70K, this means that I will not be able to give your colleague the 70K that they deserve, or anything else. This way, when you try to understand better the general situation, you will be able to compromise, lower your expectations, and probably at the end of the day, yes, leave with minus 30K, but understand that this is the best thing I could have, this is the best thing I got. Can you please provide a brief on what a conference within a mediating round is? A conference within a mediating round. I don't want to go into a very technical mediation questions, because those I think you should have asked to Dr. Ashu yesterday, because she's the person who's more fluent in mediation, the technical part of the mediation. I am just here to guide you on, from a high level perspective, on communication when you're in the mediation setup. Can the mediators call more than one caucus? I honestly need you to ask this question to Dr. Ashu, or if Param can jump in and provide the answer for these, because I do not want to give any wrong information in here, because it depends on the situation, okay? If you have any other question that's involved in the soft skills of building better communication and better mediation setup, please go ahead and ask me, of course.
once again, thank you so much, ma'am, for enlightening and inspiring session.
Sure.
Thank you,
I
ma'am.
hope you liked this session.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Participants, we hope you found today's training valuable as you prepare for the 4th Virtual International Mediation Competition 2024. Wishing you all the very best in your endeavors, and we look forward to see you in the competition. Thank you.
Thank you, Isha. It was good meeting you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
ma'am.
Sure.